Welcome to the MTC Report, the news behind the news with journalist Mark Taylor-Canfield.
Our investigator in charge is Mr. Ted Turpin, and he has arrived on the scene this afternoon already. Our other investigators have arrived in Seattle, just arrived, and we will be beginning our on-scene investigation of the derailment of Amtrak train 501. The NTSB is an independent federal agency charged by Congress with investigating every civil aviation accident in the U.S., any significant accidents in rail, pipeline, highway, and marine, and we also issue safety recommendations aimed at preventing future accidents. On behalf of the NTSB, I'd like to say that our hearts go out to everyone who is affected by this very tragic accident, and our thoughts are with you during this difficult time. We've just gotten off the plane, as you can tell, so I don't have a lot of information to give you, but I want to give you the facts as we have them so far. So here's the factual information that we have right now. The investigator in charge has obtained a download of the event data recorder on the rear locomotive. Preliminary indications are that the train was traveling at 80 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour track. The train was a 12-car train, and it had a locomotive both in the front and the back. Amtrak estimates that 80 passengers were on the train, with 3 crew and 2 service personnel in the cafe car. The crew went on duty at 5 a.m. and the train departed at 6 a.m. this morning. There were 2 stops, and the last stop was 18 miles prior to the accident. I also wanted to let you know that the Family Assistance Center has been stood up, and this is in accordance with the Rail Safety Improvement Act of 2008. So Amtrak has stood that up, and our Transportation Disaster Assistance Specialists are on scene. They're working closely with local authorities as well as with the Red Cross and with Amtrak to provide the families and the victims with the assistance that they need. From this point, the NTSB is collecting factual information on scene. Then we will analyze the facts, determine the probable cause, and issue a report of those determinations. The investigator in charge, as I mentioned, is Mr. Ted Turpin, and Mr. Turpin is a very senior investigator with over 40 years of experience in rail investigations. The NTSB team is a multidisciplinary team of experts, and we will be looking at all the different areas related to this accident. That includes such things as operations, mechanical, human factors, signals, survival factors, and of course the event data recorders. And as I mentioned, we also have our specialists, our family assistance specialists on scene. As you know, tomorrow will be our first full day on scene. Our investigative team is usually on scene between 7 to 10 days. And our mission is to not just understand what happened, but why it happened, and to recommend changes so that we can prevent another tragedy from happening again. While we're on scene, we are not determining a probable cause of this accident, nor will we speculate about what may have caused the accident. Since we're just beginning our investigation, we don't have a great deal of information to report. But rest assured, as the facts come in, we will be there to give you those facts. And we'll give you regular updates as we learn more. If the public has any relevant information related to this accident, we encourage you to email us at eyewitnessreport@ntsb.gov, and that's I as in EYE, witnessreport@ntsb.gov. And for the latest on media briefings, I encourage you to follow us on Twitter or on our website, which is NTSB_newsroom for Twitter and NTSB.gov for our website. And now I'd be happy to take a few questions, and then tomorrow we will be on scene bright and early. We will be finding out more information, and we can tell you more then. So please raise your hand, and when I identify you, please name your own name and your media outlets. Yes.
We know it's early, but is there any indication as to why the train was traveling 80 miles an hour in a 30 miles per hour zone?
The question is, why was the train traveling at 80 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone? And the answer is, it's too early to tell. We were glad that we were able to get the data from the event data recorder from the rear locomotive. The front locomotive, as you can imagine, is a bit more difficult to access, and as we pursue that, we'll give you more information about the speed, the exact speed of the train, and the speed of the track, and reasons for that. Yes, you're waiting.
Excuse me, Mike Carter from the Seattle Times. Can the NTSB confirm the number of fatalities in this accident at this point?
The question is, can we confirm the number of fatalities? And that's a very good question. We often get asked that, but we leave that to the local authorities simply because that number changes. The people who were affected, as you know, have been treated at many different hospitals. So we'll leave that for the final number until we hear from the authorities. Yes. The question is, was there any indication that there was an object on the track? That remains to be determined. We are going on scene. We've had our investigator on scene. The scene has been preserved, and we thank the local authorities for that. And we will be looking at it very carefully with all of our rail experts, such as Mr. Hiller here. Yes.
Was positive train control installed on the locomotives?
So the question was positive train control installed on the locomotives? As many of you may know, the NTSB has recommended positive train control for many, many years. And we are checking to see exactly whether positive PTC or positive train control was installed in this section of track, and we'll have the answer for you tomorrow. Positive train control is a system that prevents various types of accidents such as derailments.
And a follow-up question.
Yes.
Anna Portola at Haywood of the Life Care Station. Would positive train control have prevented an accident like this?
So the question is, would positive train control have prevented an accident like this? And PTC would prevent types of accidents such as this. Whether it will prevent this accident remains to be seen. We should remember that PTC can't prevent every accident, but it does prevent derailments, overspeed, certain types of derailments, overspeed accidents, as well as incursions into work zones, for example. Yes.
Has the train conductor engineer already been interviewed? I know there's some investigators on scene, and if not, what's the timeline for the interview today?
And the question is whether the engineer has been interviewed yet. And I believe, and I will ask Mr. Hill, I believe we have not completed all of the interviews. Is that correct?
Correct. No crew has been interviewed yet. We're waiting for our experts to get on scene. They're here, so that'll probably be in the next day or so.
So that will be done in the next day or so, we hope. And I'll take one more question from someone who, yes.
Jonathan, New York Times. Is it clear, because it's a new route, that the crew and the conductor knew what the speed limits were through the whole stretch here? I mean, was a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit clearly known by the operators of the train?
So the question is, was the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit known to the operators, and was it clear that that was the speed limit? And that is what the interviews, we hope, will help show us. You know, it's a very complicated accident. There were several crew aboard. It was, I believe, the engineer, a conductor, and one other crew member, and the assistant conductor. So we hope that they will provide us more information when we do in-depth interviews. Thank you very much for staying so late, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.